political big seat shakeups happening here.
For sure. Absolutely. It is definitely not a boring time to work in a Minnesota newsroom, that's for sure.
No, definitely not. It's not a boring time to be outside in Minnesota either. There's a blizzard warning in effect right now for southwestern Minnesota, visibility near zero. And then, of course, today was the warm day of the week.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, 5 o'clock, an extreme cold, not watch, an extreme cold warning is in effect. The high temperature for Friday, -8 degrees.
Yeah, now we're in the real winter. You know, everybody, the first couple months over the last couple years, everybody's like, wow, winter's sure different this year. You know, it's warming up. And it didn't necessarily need the big jacket every single day, but now we're in the throes of it. We're in the depths of the real winter for the next couple of months here. So it's time to batten down the hatches, layer up, tuck the afro in the ears, keep yourself warm however you can, because, it's getting serious out there. I think Friday, the high is -20 or something like that?
With the wind chill, with
the high, not the low, the high.
How do you deal? I have never experienced that kind of cold weather before. I mean, what do you do when it's like that?
I personally, if you have to be outside at all, I'm all about the layers. I'll have 3 pairs of pants. You got to have, the face mask is the most essential thing. You got to have something to cover the face, because that's the most sensitive part of it. You got to have something to cover the face. Layer up 3-4 layers on the chest, 3-4 layers on the bottom half. And then you're pretty much, after that, you're pretty good, honestly. It sounds ridiculous. It does. But you'll be sweating up in there. You're good after that. After that, I could sit out there for a little while.
-20?
Oh yeah. You'll be sweating, because it's a lot of layers. It's a lot of layers. But I would recommend layering up. Some people use the hand warmers and the gloves and whatnot. I don't really do that. I feel like if you got gloves, all you gotta do is just make the fist in the glove. That's the cheat code right there. Don't keep the fingers in the little finger holes. you put the fist in the glove, and that'll keep you warm. So just layer up, dog. You'll be all right.
Yeah. Well, Friday's a big day here in the state of Minnesota. They're calling it the Ice Out Day. People, no work, no school, no shopping, and there's a lot of protests and march planned for Friday. Good on you if you're out there in -8 degrees.
Stay safe out there.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's good. It's definitely going to be a lot.
It's going to be a lot. We're going to throw it to commercial break. When we come back, we'll see where we're at with this Prosecute ICE, not activist protest, and obviously maybe bring you out to St. Paul's City Council meeting as well. So more to come from the afternoon shift after. afternoon shift. A lot's changed in Minnesota over the last month, but one thing that hasn't, I don't mean to be negative, but we got some not winning play professionally recently.
Yeah,
I mean, collegiately.
Even
not
collegiately,
winning.
yeah.
Yes.
It was a sweep yesterday. Wild lose,
sweep.
Wolves lose, Gophers basketball lose. Although I would say the Gophers basketball team, any game from here on out, they won. They've won the season. They've won the narrative of the season already.
They got to make the tournament, though, right? Don't you want to make the tournament?
Yeah, but I think they're already ahead of schedule.
Right.
I do think that they're ahead of schedule in general. I don't think anybody who had the Gophers basketball team on their radar is even be playing above the very, very, very low expectations coming off of last year. But in general, I think they're ahead of schedule. If they made the tournament, that would be an absolute win.
They got a big opportunity this Saturday at home against number 7 Nebraska.
Yeah.
This is a huge season for Nebraska. I mean, this is another chance to storm the court again. This would be a third court storming.
Yeah,
So,
and they've been playing all these Big Ten teams really well. I mean, it was a barn burner last night.
It was
against Ohio State. So it's been nothing but exciting matches for the Gophers men's basketball team. Shout out to everybody out there.
It was their 4th straight loss now, and they had it in the second half. They were up. They were up for most of the second half. Game goes to overtime. They lose to Ohio State. If you had some extra juice out there, I feel really bad for you that it went to overtime because they were a 7.5 point favorite and they lost by 8.
Dang,
that's
so close.
That's
so
not
close
good
for the gamblers out there.
That's
Dang.
not good. That's not good.
Yeah, that's not good at all. But they've already kind of won the war. The battles, I don't want to say they're irrelevant, but they've won the war. And the fact that people are talking about Gophers men's basketball again, let me tell you, it was dead last year. That was the deadest I've ever seen the program from a popularity standpoint, from a fan interest standpoint. Yeah. Just in general, just like a liveliness standpoint, it felt like the barn was kind of it wasn't jumping. And that place is really cool, man. It's pop when it's popping. The energy there is unmatched. So they've won the war already this year, but let's keep going, boys. Let's get back to our winning ways and try to make a little run for the tournament here.
Maybe St. Thomas is putting some pressure on them.
You never know. You never know. Nobody's more invested in that rivalry than you and Mike Durkin. And I don't even think it exists. I never even realized it was a thing. I'll tell you, when I didn't hear anybody mention the Tommies not one single time while I was on campus being a Gopher. Nobody cares about St. Thomas.
I care.
Nobody cares. No, I mean from a Gopher standpoint. It's not like this heated rivalry. Maybe they're thinking about us.
Yeah.
We ain't thinking about that. I don't want to say us and them. You know, I graduated from you. I ain't know us or them. You know what I'm saying? But they think about the Gophers. I don't know if the Gophers think about them.
Just to peel back the curtain, Mike Durkin is our assistant news director. I didn't know until last night. One of the best players on Minnesota's team is his last name is Durkin.
No way.
Yes, I don't know the guy's first name. No relation. He's dropping threes left and right last night.
Dang.
I was like, my goodness. So yeah, he's out there. But yes, I want to see the Tommies. Johnny Tower, Nico Medved.
And it would be fun to have that rivalry, you know, that intra-city rivalry. We'll see. We'll see. They got some work to do.
They do have some work to do. The Vikings have some work to do. They've got a lot of work to do. They got to keep their defensive coordinator, Brian Flores, who just completed an in-person interview yesterday with the Pittsburgh Steelers. That was the Steelers' first in-person interview for their head coaching vacancy. They've had like 3 head coaches in 6 decades. Yeah, the Steelers.
It's nuts. It's about as secure of a job you can have in sports as there is to have in across any team sport whatsoever. Because again, like you said, Mike Tomlin was only like their 3rd or 4th coach since the 60s.
Yes.
It's unbelievable. They give you a long leash there in Pittsburgh. And Brian Flores, obviously, he's got connections there, I think it would be the right move for him. Obviously, we don't want to see him. We don't want to see him leave. But especially considering everything, the court case and everything that's kind of looming over him, I think he'd be having a lot more head coaching interviews if he didn't have that court case kind of looming over him. But shout out to the Hines family, I guess they're trying to bring him in, But we'll see how it goes. I saw Diana Rossini, NFL insider for The Athletic, say that she would have to lean towards no, that they don't pick Brian Flores if she had to make a call right now. But it remains to be seen. If I'm a Vikings fan, which I am, that's what I'm mostly worried about is that, because I know he's interviewed for some other defensive coordinator positions. That just seems more like a lateral move.
The Commanders, I know he interviewed for their DC, but the Ravens, he's interviewed for their head coaching job there.
And that's a big deal. And the Commanders, not for nothing, I mean, they have a better quarterback situation than the Vikings do right now.
Yes.
And obviously, it still remains to be seen the Jaden Daniels' health, because obviously that's been a big thing throughout his career. But I wouldn't be, totally baffled if he ended up going to the Commanders. But I think more so you got to worry about the head coaching lane, because any defensive coordinator move is ultimately a lateral move. And and the Vikings defense is really good, man. And I know everybody in that Vikings franchise really, 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 really wants to keep Brian Flores. And there has been, some whispers, some rumors, some smoke, and there's enough smoke that sometimes you got to believe there's fire, that there might be some friction behind the scenes, that there could be some possible drama, some disagreements. We don't know the extent of these agreements. We don't know the context of these disagreements, I should say. But there has been a lot of smoke from a lot of Vikings insiders that could be something that's looming large over this whole decision. So it remains to be seen, but I would imagine that we're going to find out pretty quickly here, because these things usually wrap up in the next couple of weeks.
How are Vikings fans feeling about the Seahawks and Sam Darnold right now?
I actually asked this question on KFA and on Sunday, worst case scenario, 11-1 on Sundays. I actually asked the audience this question, and again, this is anecdotal and this is a small sample size. Not a single person had anything negative to say about Sam Darnold. Because obviously, naturally, you might be feeling bitter that the quarterback that got you 13 wins last year is one game away from being in the Super Bowl, and obviously played a little bit better this year than he did in the Vikings playoff game last year. But I think everybody understands that, and if you're going to have any consternation about this, it's mostly directed towards the front office, I think, from a fan's point of view. Nobody can blame Sam Darnold. He reinvented his career here. He was due to get a big paycheck, regardless if it came from the Vikings, from the Seahawks. I don't think anybody is arguing that Sam should have went out and got the most money that he can absolutely get.
Totally.
And it's not like he didn't want to be here.
Totally.
To our understanding, he was totally, as fans, we don't know the inside information, but as fans, it doesn't seem like he didn't want to be here. He was willing to go where the money was going to go, and the Seahawks decided to pay him a little bit more, and I think they had an extra year on it as well, because I think, from what I've heard, again, this is just like me remembering stuff off the top of my head, I think the Vikings and the Seahawks had the same amount of money, but it was a year thing. It was a time thing. If you're Sam Darnold, you don't know. It could have been, you don't know when you're going to turn, if you're going to turn back into a pumpkin at midnight,
That's
so
right.
you try to get as much money as possible and the best job security, and they obviously clearly have a damn good team, number one overall seed.
They do.
And they're one game away from going to the Super Bowl. So I as far as I know, Vikings fans, and from what I've heard, Vikings fans are all in on Sam Darnold winning. It is one of those things. Sometimes Minnesota people, that was our quarterback, so maybe they feel some pride in it or whatnot. But it's also not like the Rams are some underdog story. It's also their opponent. So, and like I was telling you off the air, if Minnesota Vikings fans are hate watching anybody throughout the playoffs, it ain't Sam Darnold. It's Sean Payton. We're all hate watching Sean Payton.
Now go back, unpack this. This goes back to his Saints days, right?
This goes back to the Saints days. This goes back to Bountygate. Maybe one of the most, if not the most infamous game and play in Vikings history. Brett Favre throwing across the body, throws an interception. The Vikings looked like they were well on their way to going to the Super Bowl, possibly winning their first Super Bowl. And then, Sean Payton was doing the skull chant, and then there's all the information that came out afterwards about Bountygate. They're putting prices on people's head, trying to get people injured. But I think it was the skull chant thing. It is the general kind of pompous nature of Sean Payton. I don't think anybody, if he's not the coach of your team, I don't think you're a fan of Sean Payton. I'm sure as soon as he left New Orleans, they were bad-mouthing him as soon as he got out of the building. Props to Denver Broncos fans. Sucks that they got to go with Jarrett Stidham. Yes. But yeah, if anybody's hate-watching anybody here in Minnesota, we're hate-watching the Denver Broncos. I don't know if I wouldn't say anybody wants to root for a Boston team.
Right.
Let alone the New England Patriots.
Sure.
But we'd rather see Sean Payton lose.
Yes. I feel that.
Yeah,
I feel that.
Absolutely.
The Vikings, my kind of beef with them at the end, they kind of messed around and started winning too many games at the end of the season. They didn't even finish in last place. They finished in third place. And you're probably asking yourself at home, you're like, that's not a big deal. Whatever. Like, what's the difference?
Third place schedule.
That's the difference between playing the Chiefs and the Raiders next year. That's the difference.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why a team like the Patriots can go from worst to first or third to first or whatever is because they got to play the Dolphins of the world and they got to play the Jets of the world. And the Jets are in their division, but you know what I mean. Like that they get to play the lesser teams of the world, and that's how you stack wins. You know, had the Vikings played a lesser team instead of one of these top-notch teams that they played. They were only one game. They were a tie.
Yes.
Had the Packers not gotten that tie against the Cowboys early in the season, the Vikings would have done enough to make it to the playoffs at the end of the season. So you just one of those games goes your way against one of those lesser teams. That's the difference right there. So that third place schedule, it's not going to be as easy as that fourth place schedule. And yeah, it does make it burn a little bit more that they rattle off 5 wins and they barely missed the playoffs. Very Minnesota sports of them.
Yes.
And they obviously are not going to have a draft pick, but a super high draft pick, but it's not like I don't think it's like being billed as a top-heavy draft. They should still be able. Plus, their problems are picking the right people. It's not draft positioning. Their problems over the last handful of years has been picking the right people. So it doesn't really matter where they're at. They got to make sure that they nail this pick, because it's especially if you're Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, because a lot of people are asking a lot of questions over the last couple of years.
Yes. The clock is on for Kwesi for sure. Let's talk about the Wolves. They were 13.5-point favorites yesterday at Utah. They lost by 5. They led by 12 points entering the fourth quarter. Their third straight loss. Not a great. You can't be feeling good about that if you're a Wolves fan.
No, absolutely. You give up 43 points to Keontae George. Who, you might be asking? Yeah, that's a good question to ask. No, I don't think a lot of people are locked in on Utah Jazz basketball. Yeah, you give up 43 points to Keontae George. That's never going to be a good sign. Ace Bailey adds 20 for the Jazz. And there's only so much that Anthony Edwards can do. He had 38 after I think the game after he had 55 points. He's basically been virtually unstoppable offensively, but the Wolves have been inconsistent. I think this is their third straight loss, and now all of a sudden, before you lost those 3 games, you were a half a game and a half outside of being the second seed. You lose those 3 games in a row now. This is the Western Conference. This is how tightly packed it is. You're the 7th seed now.
Yep.
You go from possibly being the second overall seed that would host the 7th seed to now you're duking it out with the Warriors of the world, the Trailblazers of the world, the Clippers and the Grizzlies of the world, trying to make it into the playoffs.
Right, this would be the play-in, right?
This would be the play-in right now if they won, and then they would have to face off against the San Antonio Spurs, which from a purely basketball perspective, I mean, my God, that would be so freaking exciting.
Yes.
These 2 teams have been dueling.
They beat the Spurs last week or the week before.
They beat the Spurs 2 weeks ago, and then they lost their most recent one. Both of them were thrilling. Both of them they had to make insane comebacks, and it came down to the last second there. So that would be a lot of fun, and it seems like there's a burgeoning rivalry between Victor Wembanyama and Anthony Edwards, but you don't want to be in that situation. And if you are going to be in that situation, you want to be the 2. You don't want to be the 7. You don't want anything to do with the play-in. All of a sudden, you go on a 2-game losing streak like this,
you're out.
You're out of the mix. And now all of a sudden you're a team that went from back-to-back Western Conference Finals to not even making the postseason. But again, when the calendar flips, this is over the last couple of years, this tends to be the time when the Wolves, they usually kind of have a shaky start to the year, and then they start to get their stuff together around like February, March-ish, like last year. They went on an insane run. They heated up, and they moved their way up. Because again, we can look at the standings every single day. It's going to be like this until the 82nd game of the season, until the regular season finale. All these teams in the Western Conference outside of the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to be jockeying for playoff position. So it's going to keep going, but they got to start getting these wins where they can, especially against the Utah Jazz of the world. It's just been unacceptable. And for the most part, the Wolves have handled business against the lesser teams. Their problems have been against the winning teams.
That's right.
But lately, they're starting to sway from that a little bit and almost kind of inversing that. Yeah. So they got that was a perfect time to try to stop the skid. But again, now you got a chance against the Bulls tomorrow. You're at home.
That's right.
Bulls have been super underwhelming outside of that crazy hot regular season start. I mean, to the point we were trying to holler at our friend Tina over in Chicago. Tell us about the Bulls. And by the time we got her on the line, they were already back to being the Bulls that everybody expected them to be.
Right.
So that's a prime opportunity to try to get back to your winning ways, because otherwise you got a team like the Warriors, again, that is jockeying for playoff position, the Dallas Mavericks that are in the mix, a game against the Oklahoma City Thunder, and a couple games against the Grizzlies. These are all Western Conference teams, and the Grizzlies are not the best team in the world, but again, these are Western Conference teams that either want to play spoiler or they're trying to get in that playoff/play-in. So you got to beat when you're given an opportunity against the Jazzes of the world. You don't give up that many points to Keontae George.
Yeah, that's a lot. And like I said, 13.5-point favorites, loss outright. That's no good.
Getting outscored 43-26 in the fourth quarter is just
good.
A disaster.
Disaster.
And that's not really been the Wolves' MO. They've been the fourth quarter comeback team over the last couple of weeks. Now they're on the inverse side of that. So hopefully they can get get back to their winning ways against the Bulls tomorrow.
Yes. Another team that needs to get back in their winning ways is the Wild.
Yes.
They lost 4-3 yesterday at Montreal. Their fourth loss in the last 6 games. It was a late goal that kind of just plagued them last night.
15 seconds left in regular time. It's a tough way to go out, so you can't hang your head too much. But yeah, the Wild have been really shaky basically ever since the calendar flipped.
Yeah, they were the hottest team in the NHL in December, pretty much.
November to December, I think they were the best team in the NHL. I mean, we had Jessie Pierce on the show talking about how confident she was. Basically, no matter what the loss, the sky isn't falling.
Yeah.
And it does seem like Wild fans in general still feel very confident about this team, but you can't be super happy with what you're seeing on the ice out there. And again, late second goal, Canadians they're okay, but it's tough. It's tough being a Minnesota Wild fan right now. That's for sure.
Yeah, they'll continue their stretch against original 6 teams. They begin a 4-game homestand tomorrow night against the Detroit Red Wings.
There we go.
That's probably a great crowd. Detroit, Minnesota, probably a lot of red in the arena.
It's got to be a lot of fun. And the Red Wings kind of, I mean, I'm as casual can be at hockey, but they're 7-2-1 over the last 10. They're second in their division right now. And it's a resurgence for Red Wings hockey, which is, I mean, a lot of people forget. I think outside of the two Canadian franchises, the Red Wings have the most Stanley Cup wins of any American team.
Yes.
Of any team in the NHL. So this is the standard when it comes to American USA hockey.
Yes.
So it's good to see the Red Wings back in the mix. And again, I guess I misspoke. The Canadians are better than I thought. They basically have the same record as the Minnesota Wild. So it's not like you're losing to the bottom feeders of the world, but still you want to get back on track here because. Again, we're talking about the Western Conference and the NBA. Talking about the Central Division. You got the Avalanche, you got the Stars, and you got the Wild, the Wild were on such a crazy heater, and they basically were not able to move up at all because the Colorado Avalanche are on an insane, unprecedented kind of run, and the Dallas Stars are right up there with them as well.
Yes, yeah. It's all. We'll see if the Wild can get back.
And they got a lot of injuries. Their whole defense.
That's right.
They got a mash unit out there on the ice when it comes to the defensive side of things. So once they get those guys back in the mix, I think they'll be back to that standard that we've set for them so far this year.
They need to get back to December for sure. They'll have a chance to do that tomorrow night against the Red Wings. Speaking of hockey, the Minnesota Frost, they're also playing the Montreal team, the Montreal Victoire tonight. The Victoire tonight at 6 o'clock right here on Fox 9 Plus and the Fox Local app. The Frost are 5-3 this season. The back-to-back champions, the only champions of the PWHL's history.
Yeah, the only team to ever hoist the Walter Cup. I think Montreal is I believe they're one of these newer teams that came into the PWHL this year. Because I know just talking to Frost players that the team kind of got gutted from these drafts.
Right.
When you have these newer teams that enter the mix, but obviously 5-3, they're still doing well, and they're the standard, baby. They're the ones with the target on their back. They're like the only team to ever win the PWHL title 2 years in a row. So I would expect nothing less but excellence from the Minnesota Frost. So go out there to Grand Casino Arena and support our championship team, the only championship team in Minnesota right now.
That's right. And if you can't make it out to GCA, Fox 9 Plus and the Fox Local app, at 6 o'clock, you can check that game out.
Heck yeah. The next 2 games, the next 3 games counting tonight.
9.
All in Minnesota.
All in Minnesota. You can just catch all the Frost coverage right here. It's all here. We are going to go to commercial break. When we come back, we will probably be sending you out to the St. Paul City Council. There's a press conference there with child care providers talking about ICE and how they're pertaining to child care centers in St. Paul. So we'll see if we can get you that. That's supposed to start at 3:30. I think we got a camera there.
Absolutely. So let's go to commercial break, and we'll get you to that press conference as soon as we come back right here on the afternoon shift.
Yep. back. We are going to send you now to downtown Minneapolis. There's a rally there, a press conference, Max, called Prosecute ICE, Not Activists, happening right now.
And we got our camera, so let's get right to it.
Juan Stevenson, Chavez, Chowdhury, and others who have said that they will take a stand to pass a resolution demanding that U.S. representatives from the state of Minnesota vote down any funding for ICE. We are responsible for stopping the violence in our communities if our government refuses to stop it for us. That is the message that you as media need to be putting out to normal people, as you would say. Like, when is enough for you? And it is time to stop this.
MIRAC is proud to be a grassroots organization that's run entirely by volunteers, so we're proud to not get paid for this, actually. And that our line is that legalization is for all and that no one is illegal, especially on stolen land, as the entire United States is. We're proud to say that everyone has a right to due process, everyone has a right to not be detained inhumanely, to be treated like not human.
Most of America believes that the individuals like the murderers, the rapists, should be deported. Do you call for sanctuary and legalization for those individuals too, and do you stand behind protesters kind of impeding in those operations where they're targeting a murderer or a child with sex offender?
When you say rapist, are you also referring to the President of the United States?
I'm referring to the federal organization right now. Do you want them legalized as well, with sanctuary for those individuals who have committed those crimes as well?
Every resident in any country should have the same opportunity as their neighbor to be punished for crimes that they commit. If you murder someone, go to jail. If you rape someone, don't become President of the United States and go to jail. If you're convicted of multiple felonies, don't become President of the United States and get your ass to jail. We believe in equal punishment for everyone across the board. Whether you're a nasty president who, hangs out on Epstein Island, or whether you are an immigrant who came here, you should be going to the same jail for the crimes that you commit. We are not saying that everyone is perfect, because people from all walks of life can suck equally as anyone else from all walks of life. And that is what is important here. It's equal treatment under the law. Everyone is allowed and has a right to equal treatment. If you commit a crime, go to jail, be punished for your crime, and have the same opportunities for rehabilitation as your neighbors do as well. We're calling for equality, like plain and simple. And that does include, yes, the President of the United States. He should get equal treatment under the law as well. Any other questions?
Are you planning to stay here for a while tonight?
Not really. We're still able to take questions for our next at least 30 minutes. Probably not beyond that. You could also email miracmn@gmail.com for more specific questions about parts you may have missed. We live streamed the whole thing if there were speakers missed.
But you're not doing a sit-in tonight.
Oh, no. No, we just resolved that case. Yeah, we settled to pay for a fine. Most people that were arrested, 11 of them, stayed overnight in jail, so they've done their time.
But no, we are not doing a sit-in right now. Whether or not we will want to take further actions to help make sure Fry listens to us in the future is up in the air.
Yeah.
Are there council members here? I'm not seeing them. They're here.
Stevenson's aides are here, and Councilmember Walmsley is right here. If you guys wanted to direct questions to them directly, you're welcome to do that. They came to show their support for the city to take more actions to support immigrants. And they also came to show their support for helping to pass the city resolution showing or demanding that federal money and that our federal representatives here in Minnesota do not vote for any more funds for ICE. And we very much appreciate all the work that they put into passing the stronger separation ordinance. And we are going to keep fighting until we get all of the wins that we asked for in that original ordinance. Change doesn't happen overnight, but we're in it for the long haul. Merrick's been doing it for 20 years, and we've got at least a few more decades under our belt.
Do they want to say anything, council members?
You're welcome. You don't have to.
Hi everyone, I'm Councilmember Robin Wansley, also Minority Leader for the Council, and I represent Ward 2. I'm here, as was already shared, just articulating our support in moving forward additional items to protect our residents, be it the ones who are getting targeted by federal ICE agents for helping escort children to school every single day, or legally observing residents being abducted at bus stops by federal ICE agents, and also making sure that people can safely go to their places of worship. And we know all of that day-to-day living is being interrupted by this occupation and presence of federal ICE agents, which is why council members took the proactive action last December to pass a stronger separation ordinance. Just last Thursday, the body unanimously passed a resolution asking Governor Walz to declare an eviction moratorium so that residents can shelter in place and do not have to choose between going outside and risk being abducted, arrested, or even shot and killed by a federal ICE agent, or going to work to pay their rents. We anticipate notices of eviction in the thousands to start going out in the next week ahead of the February 1st rent deadline. And we do not want to see residents be displaced. So we are rallying efforts on our side to encourage all lawmakers to get that eviction moratorium in place. We're also taking actions to move funding to support rental assistance so that, again, residents have resources to support them in sheltering in place. And of course, supporting efforts like the state and nationwide call to action for this Friday to get ICE out of Minnesota. So I'm here just speaking on behalf of how council has done everything within our wheelhouse to not only push and get and encourage ICE to get out of our communities, but to protect our residents while they're terrorizing our communities as well.
How do you feel the separation ordinance is working? Now, you've strengthened it. I'm assuming we're operating under the amended one. How do you feel it's playing out?
So even when we passed that separation ordinance, we always said this is not sufficient. This will not be enough. And it will take our mayor and executive office doing strong enforcement of this ordinance for it to truly have meaningful impact for our residents. And that's what we heard today. Residents want to make sure that they're seeing MPD, city employees in a department that has a budget over $260 million, and who just in the first quarter of this year, or the first couple of weeks of this year, have already acquired $2 million worth of overtime. They want to see our police officers protecting civilians. They want to see those being the people escorting children to school, helping people get to work safely. But that is not what they're seeing. There's requests from the mayor's office to use traffic calming barriers to block off access from streets, especially for vulnerable communities that federal ICE agents are using. We're not seeing any action move from the mayor's office on that. So we've always named, we need more enforcement responses by the mayor for this ordinance to truly have an impact. And we also even accompanied that ordinance with a resolution urging him to prioritize law enforcement resources for mandating verification of ICE agents, especially those who are masked. Because we don't know if we have vigilantes coming into our communities and abducting residents, and don't know if we're distinguishing a vigilante from a federal ICE agent. So everything has always pointed back to we need a strong partner in the mayor's office to enforce, the work that we do, same when we do rental assistance, same when we do with the eviction moratorium. We need our partner in the mayor to step up because council is doing it.
Are you saying MPD is blocking off streets, not aside from when there's been the shootings where they?
No, I said that was a request made amongst the mayor's office for MPD to even use their resources to block off streets. We saw this happen in 2023 when a council member requested MPD to block off streets here in downtown in response to Somali youth apparently causing a ruckus or chaos in the downtown area around the 4th of July. We saw cement barriers go up to prevent youth from accessing that. Why we aren't seeing the same rapid responses from the mayor and MPD to put cement blockages to protect our neighbors as well from federal ICE agents? That's the request that's been posed to the mayor's office that has not been complied with.
Okay, so council members have made the request.
Council members and residents.
Okay, well, like what areas have they asked that to be done in?
This has been areas where we're seeing ICE activity happen and intensify.
And the response was what? No
You
response?
haven't seen any barriers go up, have you? That's the response.
That would be meant to stop federal agents. What about like emergency services if they were needed in the area, like ambulance or police?
So this is the meeting that have been requested. We're pretty sure, similarly as they did in 2023 when they put those barricades up, they found a way to make sure that residential areas still receive access and services from our emergency responders. I'm pretty sure we have phenomenal experts at our city departments who can help us figure out how to do both. Protect residents from federal ICE agents using the resources that we have, while also making sure if there is a crisis, they can receive first response services as well.
How do you feel MPD is handling this and adhering to the separation ordinance throughout this surge?
So, as I mentioned, this is all required on strong enforcement of the ordinance. MPD plays a critical piece in that, and residents are not seeing officers protect them from attacks by ICE agents. And the city's position is they do not have interest nor priority of doing so. The Commissioner of Community Safety authored an op-ed articulating that. They will not be in the streets protecting residents from ICE. So this is why council is doing everything that we can to then say, let's keep people in their homes. If you're not going to be out here using barricades, enforcing ordinances that we have on the books that our federal ICE agents are currently violating. If you're not going to do that, then allow people the bare minimum to shelter in place.
You spoke about how people should be allowed to worship. Given that, what are your thoughts about the protest at the church in St. Paul on Sunday?
I don't have any particular comments around that. It's very different that those people were able to safely go worship on Sunday. It's very different than other people who are seeking to go to their places of worship and they're getting abducted, arrested, or shot and killed. There are thousands of our neighbors who didn't get a chance to worship in their places of spiritual practice, and we want them to have that same right. Right? Thank you all.
One more announcement before following questions for MIRAC. We invite the general public, normal people, and the press to join us Friday, January 23rd at 2 p.m. And the starting location for actions on Friday is the Commons Park, 425 Portland Avenue South, downtown Minneapolis. So we would love to see people there. And we would take any other questions for MIRAC at this time.
What do you make of Christine Noem and Bovino saying that they've arrested 10,000 people? Does anyone have an opinion of whether that's accurate or not? Yeah.
No, we have no idea as to whether or not that's accurate because they don't provide any detailed reports or numbers to back it up. And also this administration makes extravagant claims about, I don't know, like 1,000% reducing fees of things. Like, they make extravagant claims with crazy numbers all the time, and so we actually have no basis of understanding what numbers coming from this from this administration are even supposed to mean. What we would like is transparency from the Department of Homeland Security. They can go off and make baseless claims all they want, but where are the reports? Where are the names of the people that are detained? How do we know that they are safely being detained and they're not dying in detention? And the fact that they're keeping elected officials out of detention centers should be a huge red flag, and everyone here should understand that the fact that they are not allowing lawyers, elected officials to lawfully enter these detention centers and these jails means there are atrocities occurring inside of them, and there's probably more sick or even dead people inside these detention centers than we have any idea. So stop throwing out numbers that don't have a backing and give us transparency and actual reports on what the hell this administration is doing. Other questions? Okay. All right, well then we'll call that a wrap. I know you guys can end with a chant. And again, you do have our contact information. We'll be having other events. Come see us on Friday. Come out in front of Klobuchar's office on Monday to protest funding for ICE. You have ways to reach us. You can let us know if you have questions. But one thing we will make sure that we always demonstrate as an organization is full and complete solidarity for immigrants and anyone who is resisting the violent tactics and oppression by the Trump administration and the Department of Homeland Security.
That was a press conference put on by MIRAC, the Minnesota Immigrants' Rights Action Committee. The name of the press conference was Prosecute ICE, not activists.
And we got a lot more press conferences coming for our lovely audience out there today as well.
We sure do. We sure do. There's several going on right now. Right now, the St. Paul City Council is meeting with child care providers, talking about ICE's presence within child care centers. There's also two press conferences that happened earlier today. One was of Nasra Ahmed, a 23-year-old U.S. citizen born in Minnesota who was detained by ICE. She actually spoke for the first time.
Wow.
This has been a story that's kind of been making some national headlines. So
yeah. I'm very much looking forward to hearing what she had to say.
Yeah, her, and then there was also local lawmakers that spoke out on ICE Out Friday. This is a big statewide initiative. No work, no school, no shopping. People are really calling for people to a day of pause and reflection and activism really on Friday.
Yeah, and it's coming up right around the corner, and I'm sure we'll have plenty on it on Friday. Unless we're participating.
It's gonna be -8 degrees outside.
Right? Yeah, it's gonna be a real cold one out there for sure.
It'll be very cold. But we're gonna go to commercial break, and when we come back, we'll be bringing you somewhere either live or something that happened earlier today as it pertains to ICE's presence in Minnesota. Don't go anywhere. back here to the afternoon shift. Max, there is a 23-year-old St. Paul woman. Her name is Nasra Ahmed. She was detained by ICE, a U.S. citizen, born in Minnesota. She spoke out for the first time this afternoon.
That's a damn shame what she went through, but I think it's important that we hear from these people directly. And obviously, props to her for being brave enough to put her face out there and to speak on it directly, because it's obviously a super traumatizing and very personal thing. But we definitely need, there's only so much you can hear numbers and statistics and recounts of stories. I think what really affects some people, that is, the most, is when you hear it directly from the source, from someone that actually went through it, the real raw emotions of it.
That's right. That's right. Without further ado, let's play in Nasra Ahmed, a 23-year-old St. Paul woman who was detained by ICE, U.S. citizen, born in Minnesota. Let's take a look at what she had to say.
Good afternoon. My name is State Representative Samakab Hussein, District 65A. I'm honored to be here with you all. Thank you for being here with my colleagues. And as you can see, Nasra Ahmed and her father is here with us, the family members that happened to the tragedy in St. Paul about a week ago.
Hello, my name is, excuse me.
Thank you. And over the last 2 weeks, my office has been receiving endless complaints from our community about civil rights violation on our streets and our community. We are hearing from U.S. citizens, parents, young people, and working family who say they have been stopped with no clarity cost and demanding to show their identity, whether they are citizens or whether they are here illegally or legally way in the state of Minnesota. Let me be clear, this is not a normal. It is unlawful, and it's not public safety. It is intimidation, harassment, and it looks like racial profiling for those people, black and brown, that has been detained in St. Paul and the state of Minnesota. Many of you have seen the video that's circling online. Sold U.S. citizens born here in Minnesota, raised in Minnesota. She was unjustly arrested by ICE and detained for 2 days with no legal representation, with no giving a clear answer why she got arrested. Nasra just has been released, but she's not fine yet because she's shocked, devastated, traumatized, and she will never be the same until she got arrested. But what we experienced, it felt like a nightmare when I spoke with her, that she is not feeling the same person. She feels fear. She asked questions herself whether she belonged in here or not, even though she was born in the United States of America. She has been harassed because the way she looks like, the way she dressed. It was easy target to pick up because she is Somali American. But they did not ask her whether she's, born here, and she's been saying it clearly that I am citizen, I am born here in America, never seen in the country. This bigger than one case. Every single person reporting this incident, it's a person of color. That's unacceptable. So today I'm saying clearly, this has to stop for the racial profiling that we've seen in our state of Minnesota. Targeting of black and brown community in Minnesota must end. No one should be treated like a criminal because of their skin color, because their name, because their accent, or the neighborhood that they live in. Because what ICE is doing, they're targeting Pacific community. They're targeting where immigrant people and people of color are living in public housings. They're not targeting other individuals, but they're targeting for those people that does not look like them. Minnesota is better than this. We will not be silent. We will be demanding answer, and we will demand accountability for those people that's doing bad in our state. As a state legislator, and many of my colleagues here today, we will hold accountability for those hurting for those people that, whether it's citizens or living in the state of Minnesota, we will be willing to protect. But now I would like to call Nasra Ahmed for her to testimony and say a few words.
Does this mic work?
Yeah, it works.
Hello.
You can sit back.
Okay, yeah, I just want to make sure.
Come a little closer.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you so
great.
much. Hi, hello. I am very grateful to have this opportunity to speak in front of everyone, and thank you to my senator for representing me and the people behind me for representing me. I can never be more grateful than I am right now. I'm not used to the attention and the fame, unwanted fame that I am receiving right now. My image is out there, but it's an image for a reason. It's an image that I will carry for the rest of my life. And I am proud. I am proud to say that I've survived ICE. I'm proud to say that I stood up for what is right. And many people are saying, including my family and friends, that I will go down in history. And I will carry this on my shoulders, and I will carry it even though I am fearful. I am a bit anxious. I'm going to admit that I didn't expect this to happen, but here I am speaking in front of everyone, and there's cameras recording me. Hi, everyone who's watching me right now. Yeah, my name is Nasra. It's nice to meet you guys. It's nice to meet everyone. I'm 23 years old. I'm from Minnesota. I also grew up in Columbus, Ohio, but I also grew up here, and I was also raised here. I was raised in both cities. Both are well-known Somali communities. So I'm Somali. I'm proud to be Somali. To me, being Somali isn't just eating bananas with rice. It's a lot. It's like it's an interesting thing. It's very hard to describe what it means to be Somali and what it means to be American, but it's like a cultural fusion. It's kind of like the bananas and rice. You know, people don't really see, like, you know, it's you know, people don't think, oh, you can eat bananas with rice, but that's what it's like to be Somali and American. It's like that combination of banana and rice, but you're gonna get what I mean. So what I'm trying to say is people might be confused by me being Somali, but then when they hear my voice, they say, this girl is very American. There's something American about her. So like my family says, you're so American. You're so American. There's something American about you. But then when other people see me, they're like, there's something Somali about you. You're really Somali, you know? So that's what it's like. You know, people always trying to assume what you are, but they know you're both. So they cannot separate the two. They just want to say, oh, you're this, you're that. But that's what it is. It's to be both. So, yeah, so I got kidnapped by ICE. So now we're going to get into the story of what made me stand here today. So that story is I got kidnapped by ICE. So ICE came to my neighborhood, where my neighborhood is a very Somali neighborhood. It's a predominantly Somali neighborhood. There's many Somalis that live here. And they kidnapped me. They took me. They arrested and detained me for 2 days, and I was put in county jail. Then there was this ICE agent who called me a racial slur. So with my skin color and me being a black person, in America, I go through a lot. I see a lot. I've experienced a lot of things. I'm also Somali, and I'm gonna say right now that even though people see me as Somali, I'm still a black person, and I can't separate the two. My skin is still dark. I'm still a black person, and I'm just a black person of Somali descent. My ethnic origin is Somali, but I'm black. I'm a person who's black under America. So I still experience racism. I still experience many things that black Americans face. And the two cannot, the two can exist, and many people don't really realize that, because what they see is so Somalis can be black and they can't be, Somali, but that's not the case. So so I was called a racial slur by this ICE agent, and this ICE agent was igniting racial violence towards me. He was inciting racial violence. He was targeting these two Somali men. They were following these two Somali men who ran out the car. And when they ran out the car, what happened was I was walking towards that area that these two men were holding the door for me. And I believe these men were Somali. I'm not sure if they were some other group, but they were a different East African descent. But they were, what I've seen is that they were Somali. And so when they came, they were following these two men, and I was waiting for these two men to hold the door for me. And I told them, hey, can you hold the door for me? And I walked right in the middle. And when I was in the middle, ICE came. They came out of their cars. They asked me to see my ID. And while they were asking me to see the ID, they just decided it was nice to be racist and say really nasty things to me. And that man, he called me the N-word, and I'm going to say it's the book the word that's in the To Kill a Mockingbird. If you've ever read that book, it's the word that's in that book. And he called me that, and then he arrested me. They arrested me. It was multiple people. They used a lot of force to arrest me. I actually got a scab that was healing while I was in jail. But they pushed me hard. They used a lot of violence. My body still hurts. I got a concussion. It's really hard for me to speak because of that concussion. They were just using a lot of force to arrest me, and I was screaming. I was crying. I was so scared. I've never been arrested in my life. I don't have a criminal record. I have a clean record. It was just, and then that detainment, I was detained. I was literal cuffs were put on my legs, cuffs on my hands. And during the detainment center is Woodville. It's in Fort Snelling. Fort Snelling historically, it used to be a concentration camp for Native Americans. And they were actually, it was this Native American place where the concentration camp was, but the concentration camp was a place where they kept many Native Americans, and they marched those Native Americans and they killed them. They murdered them, and it was named after Bishop Henry Whipple, I believe. Hopefully I'm getting my facts correct, but that man was a bishop who actually spoke for Native Americans, and I was actually detained with a Native American woman. And God bless her heart, she went through a lot too. She was also detained by ICE, and she was also a U.S. citizen, and like me. And she had gashes on her face. They shattered her windows. She had blood on her jeans, her corduroy jeans, and she was crying because she was so scared because she was with her dog. She was so scared that her dog got hurt. She was so scared for her life. We were both crying together. We were holding each other tight, and I'll never forget the fear that we both felt in our hearts that day. And deep breath. It's okay. You did enough, okay? Mm-hmm. Take a deep breath. Okay. I'm so sorry if I'm getting a little emotional.
Take some time. It's okay. You've done enough. Okay.
Thank you. Good job.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
Wait, let's take a break.
Yeah.
Let's bring her down.
We're just going to call her dad to say exactly what he knows so far.
I'm fine. I'm so sorry. I'm fine.
No.
Sorry, she got a little bit of emotion, but I got emotion. My name is Muhammad Ahmed. I was born in Somalia. I'm raised, but I came here as an immigrant. But I'm U.S. citizen. It's not only her, but I got 7 other children with her, with 8. But what Nasra has been experienced is not supposed to be happening to anybody. It's not about whether it's a community of color, whether it's going to be. I just want to start it with, I want to send my condolences first, Renee family and everybody, because that way, we carrying that feeling. It's not supposed to be happening to anybody. Being like detained or being shot or being killed for ICE. I think what we have seen as American today everywhere, the image we've been seeing, we've been experiencing is a lot of traumatized. And that is not supposed to be happening here in America. Look like now what we have seen is it's not under control. It's not a control. It's kind of like violence. People by brutalized and people by injured with eyes, and I think that image is not good. But I just want to say, I want to state what happened, Nasra. It's not supposed to be happening to anybody, whether it's citizen or whether they're going to be here legally living in America, because I have seen a lot of fear created by ICE. People could not go to outside, do their own daily life. They cannot go to shop, they cannot go to work, because people got fear because of how ICE brutalize people, how they treat, like a lot of mistreatment out there we haven't seen. The image we've seen is not good. But what happened, Nasra, was she was doing her own daily life. She went out, she came back. They sitting at the parking lot, the Afton View apartment. That's where they sitting, that's where they station. Even the other night, 9 o'clock, every night, 9 o'clock, they've been sitting, waiting people to be victimized. That's how they do. They ask about the ID. If the person refuses, jump onto them, then detain, put in the van or whatever the car, take it to the jail. But what happened, Nasra, was not supposed to be happening. And they ask about her identity. What she stated, I wasn't there, but what she stated, she provided to them. But they're not satisfied because how she looked. Then they tried to detain, maybe she resisted, I'm not sure. I wasn't there, but the video is there. When she resisted, they arrested anyway. They put her in jail, I could not find it. The word is spread around the community, be she detained, I'm not sure where to follow. The also other issue, the other problem I'm raising today, and the people in America can hear is, ICE, they don't have a place to call even if they detain anybody. It's like, if you be like in the middle of nowhere. Then I talked to Samakab. I'm glad everybody here today, I'm so appreciative. I talked to representative of Samakab. Then he's the one who helping me out, where to find. And that's where we locate. That's when we located. She's in jail of, I think it was Shelburne County Jail. That's where she located. That's where they put her. They kept her 2 days. They released her. But when she got home, we saw it. She got injured. She got a head concussion. She also got some other bruises on her legs. And she's still feeling like, the way they handcuff, she's still feeling like her hands, pain. She got back pain too. Also two or three guys on the top for her. We have that video too. It's out there. People can see it. And that's what happened. And I'm glad all of you here today to listen to what we're saying. And I appreciate if you guys come to and take to our words and show to the American people what is going on. It's not right thing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Abba. Senator, would you like to speak, or do I carry on?
No, we'll wait. Thank you. You did a good job.
Thank you.
You just heard from Nasra Ahmed, a 23-year-old St. Paul woman who was detained by ICE, born in Minnesota. She was detailing that process of being detained and being arrested and some racial epithets that were directed towards her. And you also heard from her father as well.
Yeah, obviously, super powerful statements there. And she got, rightfully so, got very emotional because it's a very personal thing. I can't imagine how traumatic that was for her, and it's going to take her a long time, I'm sure, to work through that if she ever gets through it. But I think 100%. It's important that she speaks out and details exactly what happened in her experience, because I think a lot of people need to see the reality of what's really going on here.
100%. You could hear from her. You could also see the gashes and the bandages on her forehead and everything.
To my kid, I would I don't know if I could be up there being cool, calm, and composed. So props to him and props to her as well.
I hear you. We are going to go to break. We are going to shift away from the ICE story a little bit. There was a big vote that happened on Capitol Hill this afternoon about the Boundary Waters and mining that's taking place there. It did not go the way that the Friend of the Boundary Waters wanted to see. We have the executive director of the Friends of the Boundary Waters back in studio with us to talk about it.
Absolutely. Fresh off of it, and obviously this is a huge thing. There's all this ICE stuff happening around Minneapolis, but this is a huge story happening here in Minnesota as well.
Absolutely. More on this Boundary Water story coming up right after. Shift Max. This is straight fresh off the U.S. House of Representatives floor. They voted on a controversial proposal involving the boundary waters today.
Yeah, and unfortunately, fortunately, we have the right person to talk to, but unfortunately, it's not the result that a lot of people are hoping for.
That's right. The right person to talk to is the executive director for the Friends of the Boundary Waters, Mr. Chris Knopp. Welcome back here to the afternoon shift, Chris. We appreciate you coming in.
Great. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Max. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Before we get into our conversation, we want to throw you to a piece of conversation that happened on the House floor from Minnesota's Representative Kelly Morrison, representing the 3rd Congressional District here. Here's what she had to say about this issue.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I rise in strong opposition to House Joint Resolution 140. This resolution would permanently allow copper sulfide mining in the watershed of the Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness. Copper sulfide mining is the most toxic industry in America, and it is particularly ill-suited to water-rich environments because it acidifies the water and leaches heavy metals like arsenic, lead, and mercury into that water, which is part of the reason it has never been done in Minnesota before. Remember, we are the land of 10,000 lakes. Minnesotans do not want a toxic mine on the watershed of the Boundary Waters. In fact, 70% of Minnesotans want permanent protection for the Boundary Waters, our state's crown jewel. Antofagasta, owned by a Chilean billionaire who's a crony of President Trump's, is the foreign mining company that wants to extract minerals from this watery wilderness. They have contracts set up to send the copper they extract to China for processing, and from there it will be sold on the open market. Allowing a Chilean mining company to extract copper from our public lands, destroy the Boundary Waters, and send minerals to benefit billionaire owners, and China will not protect our national security. Some sacred places should be off limits from this kind of mining, and the Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness is clearly one of jobs in the $13.5 billion outdoor recreation economy in Minnesota will all be in serious jeopardy if this resolution passes. The Boundary Waters is a national treasure, the most visited wilderness area in the United States. There is no place like it on earth. And once it is destroyed, it will be gone forever. Like many Minnesotans and people around the country and the world, my husband and I have paddled and camped with our kids in the Boundary Waters every year since they were small. We share magical and life-changing memories from our adventures there that we all cherish. Preserving this wilderness for future generations should be our goal, not its destruction. This resolution is an existential threat to our beloved Boundary Waters. I implore my colleagues to reject this resolution. You have the opportunity to stand up for public lands and the Boundary Waters and prevent the inevitable water, air, noise, light, and land pollution that will destroy this unique wilderness. Mr. Speaker, I yield back.
You just heard from Representative Kelly Morrison. Chris, before we kind of get into the nuts and bolts of this, just tell us, what was this resolution all about in the first place here?
Sure. Well, Adam, Representative Morrison is a great friend of the Boundary Waters. And so what this resolution is about, it's basically to undo protections that are on public land, federal land, adjacent to the Boundary Waters. So protections were put in place in 2023 to prevent copper nickel sulfide mining on lands adjacent to the Boundary Waters canoe area. And so what this resolution does, it unwinds that. It removes those protections. It still needs to go to the Senate and be signed by the president, but this is the first step to that. And so this is going in the flying in the face of science. It's flying in the face of all those jobs that depend on it. It is really a mistake. And what it's basically doing is allowing a foreign mining conglomerate, a Chilean company called Antofagasta, to mine right adjacent to the Boundary Waters. And it still has to go through a number of steps, but it's giving the green light to make that happen.
Now, Chris, what would the long-term effects of mining in the Boundary Waters be? What would the Boundary Waters look like after years and years of mining?
Sure, it would devastate it. It would devastate it. So this type of mining, the waste is incredible. So the amount of copper and nickel that they're after, it's not like 50% of the rock. It's not like 25% of the rock. It's not like 10% of the rock. It's not even 1% of the rock. So it's like about 0.4% of the rock. So that means more than 99.5% waste is generated by this. And out of that, you have the sulfide in the rock comes in contact with water and creates sulfuric acid. And that does a lot of bad things. It takes mercury that's otherwise inert in the soil and puts it into the water system. So that gets into the plants, it gets into the animals, and then it gets into humans. And that's a neurotoxin. So especially for babies, the brain development is stymied. And so this is has a great effect on babies and young children. And the sulfate kills wild rice, monomen. And so it has a cultural impact on the Anishinaabe people that depend on wild rice as part of their culture. So this would devastate the area. It essentially would create a mining zone. And the thousands of outdoor jobs that are dependent upon it would be negatively impacted. So fewer people would go up there, if any at all, and you would really lose that outdoor economy that is now the mainstay for northeast Minnesota.
Chris, if this passes, and like you said, it just passed the House, so it's got to go through the Senate and it's got to go through the White House first. So it can still go the other direction here, but assuming it does go through all those steps and it does get passed, what does tourism look like in the Boundary Waters 5 years from now? I mean, could it virtually go extinct, you think?
Sure. It's a marathon. It's a marathon. This fight to protect the Boundary Waters is a marathon. And so at Friends of the Boundary Waters, we've been at it for 50 years. In fact, on my shirt here, 50th anniversary this year in 2026.
Heck yeah.
So we were founded in 1976. So this has been a half-century fight. And so we have these battles right now, but it's a long war. And so we are fighting both at the state and the federal level. So the fight is also at the state level, Adam. So we will be, we have a Boundary Waters Day at the Capitol on February 25th. And so it'll be an all-day event where we meet with our state legislators and then have a rally in the afternoon at 1:30. And I want everyone who hears this to come to Boundary Waters Day at the Capitol here in St. Paul, Minnesota on February 25th. And so we're bringing the fight right to our local elected officials and say, hey, will you stand up for Minnesota? Will you stand up for the Boundary Waters against this federal threat?
Chris, now the Boundary Waters are lucky to have a friend like you. We all wish we had a friend as committed to that friendship as you and the Boundary Waters. Now, kind of piggybacking off of what Adam said, assuming this goes through, what's next? Like, is that it? Is there just mining, or is there anything that we can do as a state that you guys can do to continue to fight even after this gets passed?
Sure. Twin Metals is far from being able to put a shovel in the ground. So Twin Metals is that subsidiary of the Chilean mining conglomerate Antofagasta that wants to put the mine here. So there's a long permitting process that they have to go through. And so we will first look at our options for challenging this action in federal court. So we have our legal team looking at that right now to see if there's a way to stop what just happened within the hour in court. But at the state level, what we'll do, you have to get both state mineral leases as well as federal mineral leases, and so we'll look to stop at every turn Twin Metals from getting the state mineral leases.
Yeah. Chris, there's probably a lot of people out there that have no idea what the Boundary Waters are. They're probably furiously Googling to figure out why is this man so passionate about the Boundary Waters, and why are people in Congress, people in the House of Representatives talking about it? What makes the Boundary Waters so special to Minnesotans?
Adam and Max, if you can imagine waking up in the most amazing morning, and you see mist rising off the water, and you see the sunrise piercing through the mist, and you see in the distance just islands upon islands and this placid water. In the distance, you see Native American pictographs, and then beyond that, you see open water where you can paddle more than 2 miles across to the next side, and you hear loons in the distance, and you may want to catch a walleye for breakfast and have that at your campsite. That's what the Boundary Waters is about, and it's about doing it with your family and friends and bringing new people into it, so you connect with the landscape, but you connect with your family and friends, and you connect more deeply with yourself. That's what the Boundary Waters is about, and that's why we're protecting it, because to keep those memories alive, to keep it for people. So it's about the trees and the rocks and the water. It's about the loons and the moose and all that, but it's about people. And so it's saving those opportunities for people all across the United States to be able to have that Boundary Waters experience.
Chris, as always, your passion is brimming. I mean, people at home can feel it through the TV, and you're far from the only one here in Minnesota. A lot of people feel very strongly and very passionate about the Boundary Waters. There's probably people at home right now shaking their fists at this imaginary conglomerate, wherever that conglomerate is, whatever direction Chile is. They're shaking their fists towards the Capitol. They're shaking their fists towards Chile. What can regular people do to help people like you guys at the Friends of the Boundary Waters?
Sure, yes. You want to scream severance? I am so inspired by the thousands of people that are raising their hand and say, I want to fight for the Boundary Waters. You can join our fight. You can be part of we have a citizen action network at Friends of the Boundary Waters of people that are going to be making calls tonight at 6 o'clock. They're going to be calling senators now, saying Senate offices saying, hey, this just passed the House. Contacting the Senate office and saying, don't vote for this. So we're contacting senators all across the United States beginning tonight at 6 o'clock. So join our Citizen Action Network. Show up at our events. As I mentioned, Boundary Waters Day at the Capitol, February 25th, right here in St. Paul. We want everyone to be there. We want hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people to show up and say, we care about Minnesota. We care about our people. We care about our waters. We care about the Boundary Waters. We need that show of force. Those are two direct things. If you're a small business person and say, my gosh, my livelihood depends on it, or if you're a small business person here and you love the Boundary Waters, you can join our Clean Water Coalition. We have a broad expanse of Clean Water Coalition of small businesses that stand up for the Boundary Waters. If you belong to a church or a synagogue or mosque, you can have your faith institution be part of our Clean Water Coalition. So we want a broad expanse of a civic movement. I tell everyone at Friends of the Boundary Waters that we're not just an organization, we're a movement. And it's a movement about ordinary people, it's about businesses, it's about organizations that care about the Boundary Waters. And so be a part of the movement.
Yeah, that February 25th, Boundary Waters Day at the state capitol.
Yes.
I can promise you we will be bringing you that rally on the afternoon shift. Even if it's on tape delay, we'll be bringing you that. Where's the website that people can go and learn more about the Boundary Waters?
Sure. It's I've got two things here. I actually brought something with me.
Sure.
There is a QR code right here. Let's see if this is it, guys. So if you want to zoom in on that, that's the QR code. But it's www.
There we go.
Freds-bwca.org.
Awesome.
And as always, Adam and Max, my cell phone number, 651
and it works.
999-9565.
I've called it on this very show. It works.
651-999-9565. You know, you can call my number, and I can get you hooked up with our team here and be part of this movement. It's a movement.
And if you're thinking Chris is looking dapper right now, they got the merch store. They got the merch store right now. They got T-shirts. They got all types of merch. That's sweet. That's what I was thinking.
This is a sweet. We can hook you up with some sweet merch here. Go to our merch store. I can give you some merch here.
Absolutely.
I'll bring merch next time, Adam and Max. Get you some sweet merch.
That one's very comfortable. I'm just going to say that.
There's some sweet stuff on here.
It is the thing you want to have around a campfire.
Absolutely.
I can't say it's been. I don't know. It's been years since I've been involved in a campfire.
Yeah.
Years.
Perfect time. Perfect time right now. Go up to the Boundary Waters,
You know what?
brother.
Tomorrow night at Lake State Mountaineering in the North Loop, we have a planning for your trips.
Okay.
So you can come there, and join us for some fun.
Okay.
So he'll hook you up. So you can get permits beginning January 28th. So next Wednesday, a week from today. So we'll have a planning party tomorrow night. We can get you all set up on what routes and find that campsite. You can get to that campsite, Adam.
Are people camping this weekend with the temperatures like this? I'm curious about this.
I will be camping in a few weeks myself here, but I know someone that just came back. It was not for the faint of heart.
Real dedication.
It's real. There's beauty in all seasons.
Sure.
There's no such thing as bad weather, just bad clothing. So dress in layers, right?
Right.
That's what Max was saying.
I say that all the time. I got it tattooed on me. I just can't show you where. Yeah.
Chris Knopp, the executive director for the Friends of the Boundary Waters. We appreciate you, Chris. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate that, too. Thank you, guys. Thanks so much.
Man, Chris.
More to come from the afternoon shift after this break. attitude shift. It's been an afternoon of press conferences, and we're about to have another one here.
Absolutely. I think we're going live to the Capitol, right?
Yes, to St. Paul City Council. They are talking about child care providers and ICE activity in child care centers. Let's go live to our state's Capitol right now.
I'm very proud to sponsor the leaders that we have here for the first reading. In recent months, ICE has had in our city and caused irreparable harm to community members through their dehumanizing tactics of racial profiling, intimidation, and lawlessness. Federal agents repeatedly parking new city property, like parking lots at our beloved libraries and recreational centers. As a state community, this is unacceptable. We saw this over in my ward in November, where many conversations around the separation ordinance spurred. And thank you to so many people who put their bodies on the line, from community members, elected officials, you as well, Council President, being that sprayed by the chemical irritants. And it's not okay what's happening. Our library went into shutdown. Kids and families were still inside, and they were terrified, and they had to make a choice about whether they were going to leave a space that we know to be a place of sanctuary, that is welcoming and that's safe. Our city properties are safe and welcoming spaces, values that are deeply violated by ICE and the authoritarian Trump regime, and I do not stand for that at all. And I stand in solidarity with you in fighting that. I am proud to sponsor this dire and life-saving ordinance in dedication to all who work, play, and live in St. Paul. And when I think about the story I shared earlier about my son and how he shouldn't be living in a world like this. I mean, we didn't ask for this. I know many of us in here, we did not ask for this. But I know who did ask for it, the MAGA supporters. So what I want to call on all MAGA supporters to do is to self-report their address to ICE. So you get a personal thank you by ICE. And you know what, with the reporting line, I mean, right now is the moment where if we want to delay, the tactics of ICE and delay their operations, which we know they want to do things swiftly. They want to do things as quickly as possible. They're even detaining citizens because they know that it is the citizens who go in to get detained. They're going to come out quickly. I mean, for the ICE agents, it's all about meeting those quotas. So if we want to delay those operations as much as possible, well, right now is the time to be reporting in those MAGA addresses. And what is happening is so unacceptable. And I'm very invested in making sure the people who wanted this, they will get that personal thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Yang. I think I saw Ms. Coleman.
Thank you, Council President. I think that my colleagues, Council Vice President Kim and Councilmember Yang, covered much of why this is so critical and where we are going from here so well. I just want to say briefly on the ordinance that we're introducing today and why it feels so important and so urgent, and how the importance of it has only increased in recent days. As Councilmember Yang said, we have continued to see ICE attempt to use our public spaces as a location to stage their raids and their destruction of our communities. When we had a presentation from Edmundo Lijo in our city attorney's office last week at our policy committee meeting, he spoke about the initial intent of the separation ordinance as being about public trust and public safety, and how critical it is that every single resident of our city know what our values are and know how we're expending our resources, and understand with perfect clarity that we are not going to use city resources to enforce federal immigration law to do the work of Donald Trump and ICE. And what we saw over the last several days, over the last week, as ICE continued to violate our cease and desist and show up in our city-owned parking lots, was a fracturing of public trust. I'm sure many of us saw the conversations happening on social media and other spaces over the weekend suggesting that our Parks and Rec department was collaborating with ICE, and that's why ICE was using our parking lots. That is what happens when ICE uses our public spaces. It is unacceptable for anybody in this community to have the impression that our Parks and Rec department would ever collaborate with ICE because they never, ever would. They never have, they never will. That is not what we stand for as a city. We are so deeply committed in this building across the thousands of employees who work for every single person knows that we are fighting for them, not for ICE, not for Border Patrol, not for DHS. And so to me, it is so essential that we pass this ordinance, that we make sure, and the ordinances that will come that continue to show who we are as a city, that continue to show who is welcome here. And that's our community members, that's our residents, that's everybody in this room, and it is not ICE. So that's all I will add.
Thank you, Ms. Coleman. Ms. Bowie.
Thank you, Council President. I'll just share some remarks because I know later on in our agenda we're going to have a public hearing. So I just want to really just have the time for people to participate in that. But I just want to just share just like justice delayed is justice denied. And when I think about just the power that we have, our policies is our justice tools, the policy to provide clarity, information, and direction. And I think this ordinance makes it very crystal clear what our role is. And I also just want to say, I want to just really thank you, Councilmember Coleman, and also Council Vice President Kim and Yang, and also Council President Naker, for really just all the behind the scenes, and also Councilmember Jost, everybody, the behind the scenes work, the sweat equity that goes into this. I think all of us feel the heaviness of our responsibility, knowing that we were elected into these offices to handle city services, and now protecting our neighbors against a federal siege was not part of our platforms when we first ran. But now we have to become experts in this. So I do want to say I offer grace and my passion. I hope you do not see it as an attack or offense, but we hold really, really important roles, and often our work is invisible. I do appreciate us having this discussion publicly, even though there's not like a blueprint, right, around like how we navigate these waters. But it is really important to honor that work, particularly of how we're going to be crafting the future of protections of our neighbors, and really making sure we're responding strongly. I actually do appreciate how we are rolling this out in phases and not making perfection the enemy of good, or the enemy of action. I think every week every week that we can work to improve our systems and our laws, and also that third part too that we talked about last week, our budgetary priorities. Policy alone isn't going to actually fix some of the economic harms that people have been facing. We can also lean on our partners at the state and at the county level to really help with that safety net. And last but not least, I would just say also to Mr. Greenfield, I really appreciate how just stepping into his role and really leading with values and providing a lot of information for us, particularly around the framework around the direction we should be going. And one of the things that he had mentioned that I think is just so valuable is making it very clear that the federal government does not have legal authority to enter our non-public spaces. And that legal authority is something that we have to be strong on. That legal authority, we are representatives of what our legal authorities are. So just yet again, what I'll just share is, I'm always in support of anything that we can do to exercise our powers to make sure that our neighbors are safe. And we are thinking creatively, innovatively, and I just applaud us all. And again, just thank you for this work, for the sponsors, and I'm excited to pass this and adopt this.
Thank you, Ms. Bowie. Ms. Jost.
Thank you, Council President Naker. I just hope that it's clear to everyone that this council is unified against ICE, and we are committed to protecting our residents. This federal operation in our city it's a crisis, it's an emergency, and the impact has been brutal. I mean, our businesses closing, neighbors disappearing, really fear that everyone's experiencing just to go on about their everyday lives. This ordinance that was introduced today is the first step of many steps that we're going to take, as Mr. Greenfield mentioned, to ensure that our city doesn't waste its resources on unproductive federal work. Our constituents have made it clear that they do not want any part of this. We do not want ICE in our community, and we will do whatever we can to ensure that our city government maintains its stark separation from their operation. Our work is so critical. This might be one of the most important pieces of legislation that we work on this year, if not in our term. We must act intelligently and with haste. I want to make sure that our efforts are not further delayed by any missteps in our procedure. I'm so proud, Councilmember Coleman, thank you, Council President Naker. I also really want to thank Tim Greenfield, who just presented here earlier. I don't think that anyone could have captured the work that we're doing in characterizing our values any better. So Tim, thank you very much. I want to thank Council Vice President Kim, Councilmember Yang, Councilmember Bui, thanking everyone here. I know that we are all united and we really care so deeply about this issue, and that is why we are bringing it forth in this way. I just appreciate everyone's diligence and thoughtfulness, ensuring that we are maximizing our power when our residents need it the most. So I will continue to support the work of this separation ordinance in any way that I can, and making sure that, we're doing this correctly and legally and quickly. I just really appreciate everyone's work to figure out how we could roll this out in a way that makes the most sense and while delivering to our residents as quickly as possible. Like I think it was Councilmember Bowie said, not letting perfection be the enemy of progress as we're trying to move forward. The separation ordinance that we're working on has so many parts to it. It takes a significant amount of analysis and work. And so I just 100% agree that this is the best way to proceed. And so I mentioned we'll do everything, we are doing everything we can to move this forward as quickly as possible. And our constituents deserve that, and they deserve so much more. So thank you everyone for all your work.
Thank you so much, Ms. Jost. Thank you to all of my colleagues. I agree 100% with everything that's been said, and I feel very, very proud and very grateful to be part of this strong, resolute council at a time like this. I just want to add one element that I think is important as well. The trust that Ms. Coleman talked about being built, and the trust that is broken down when people see federal agents in our parking lots. That's also trust that's important to build up and restore among our own frontline staff. The folks who are working in our parks and rec centers, the folks who are working in our libraries, the folks who are working in these buildings, knowing that federal agents are not allowed in parking lots, that they're not allowed in non-public spaces, that gives needed assurance and clarity to our frontline staff as well. And I think right now what we're hearing from everyone in our community is that we need clarity. We need to know what the rule is. We need to know what's wrong and what's right. And at a time when everyone else might be disregarding that, one thing we can do as leaders is hold firm to what is wrong and what is right. And we are clearly saying that language today in one regard. We will continue to do that as we move forward with many other pieces of legislation. So thank you again to my colleagues. This is just a first reading. So this item will go over and we'll be hearing from this item.
That was the St. Paul City Council. They were talking about ICE's relevance with childcare services and providers there. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been on the docket for a while, and I would imagine it's a conversation that's going to keep happening in pretty much every city around Minnesota.
Absolutely. Like Max and I have been saying, it's been an afternoon of press conferences. We've sprinkled in some other things there, some sports, the Boundary Waters update that just happened on Capitol Hill. We're going to go to break, and when we come back, we're going to round out today's episode and bring you into the Fox 9 News at 5 o'clock. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. We just have a few more minutes with you. Max, this is the last day of temperatures above 10 degrees. Tomorrow, 7 is the high. Friday, -8. Saturday, -2. Sunday, 5 degrees. Monday, we get back above 10. It's the high is 11.
My God.
This begs the question. If you could go anywhere in the world over the next 4 days, get out of this Minnesota cold, where are you going?
Man, honestly, I just the immediate antithesis of this that comes to my mind, like right off the top, it was Rio de Janeiro. That came to my mind.
Okay.
Because just you're on the beach. It's the most gorgeous. First of all, pretty much everybody's scantily clad. Nobody has clothes on.
Yes.
Men, women, nobody, animals. Nobody. Animals don't even have collars on. Everybody's pretty much as close to naked as possible. It's the most perfect temperature ever. It's not too humid.
Yeah.
I mean, during the day it can be, but when that sun is setting and the sky is just orange and purple and everybody's freaking out about to fight each other over a casual volleyball game on the beach, I mean, you just can't replace it. That was the first thing that came to my mind. Obviously, Rio de Janeiro can be a dicey place depending on what street you're on.
Sure.
But if you're on Copacabana Beach, there's no worries.
Yes, no worries at all. Yes.
Certainly not. What about you?
Yeah. That sounds very lovely. I was thinking Hawaii, honestly. I know it's a little basic, domestic, and whatever.
Yeah.
I was thinking that just sounds very, very, very pleasant right now.
that would be
just
amazing.
Perfect and just really nice and
I've
whatever.
still never been to Hawaii. I got to get out there.
You got to get out there. It's in this. There's so much in this country sometimes that people forget about.
I know. I've been to more countries than I have states in the United States. So
How many states have you been to?
Probably. Honestly, if you're not counting driving through,
Actually visiting the state, yeah.
Maybe not even 10. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure because we didn't go on vacation growing up. I went down south. I went to Tennessee. Probably 10. I went to 10. I used to grow Tennessee, Mississippi. That's where my family's from. Arkansas, Wisconsin. And then I spent a little time in New York. Otherwise, it's just mostly been layovers and stuff. So probably something around 15. I would imagine you've been close to all 50.
I think I'm at 41 right now, states. So, but there's specific areas I haven't like the Pacific Northwest I haven't really done,
I would love to do that.
New England outside of Massachusetts haven't really done New England. So 2 places I got to get to. But it's gonna be cold everywhere. They're getting a lot of snow in the south too. It's not just Minnesota this time.
It's everywhere around the United States. So batten down the hatches, folks.
Yes. We just got about 30 seconds left. The Fox 9 News at 5 o'clock with Simone and Kelsey is coming up next. Max will be back at it again tomorrow.
We'll be back at it, same time, same place. Like we said at the top of the show, it might be a J.D. Van-centric show because he's visiting Minneapolis tomorrow. We have no idea what his itinerary was, but I'm assuming Fox 9 has got it covered like a blanket wrapped in a Snuggie. In the meantime, I'm Max Fuller.
I'm Adam Lorenz.
We'll catch y'all tomorrow. Peace. 5 o'clock news is about to start right now.
This is Fox 9 News at 5.
And hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us here at 5 o'clock. I'm Kelsey Carlson.
And I'm Simone Woolridge. This evening, we are continuing our coverage of the ICE operations here in Minnesota and state lawmakers discussing fraud prevention today.
First, though, we do want to start with our weather. We had some snowflakes flying today, and we have a live look at the roads this evening as people make their way home. Roads look pretty good. Earlier today, maybe this afternoon, it was a little bit slower at times.
And I've been seeing some blowing snow out there.
Yeah. Pretty too. Ian, what's your assessment?
Main roads weren't bad. Side streets are so slippery right now. It's one of those ones where if you're even in your neighborhood 10, 12 miles an hour, turning a corner and you will just careen right into the curb. So side streets aren't great. The main streets are doing much better than they were.